Welcome back once again to a review of The Evolving Analyst book and Yulia Kosarenko, whom we have with us today. She's one of the authors in the book, and the title of her article is Digital Transformation That Delivers Using Business Architecture to Plan Business Analysis. Yulia is a professor, an author, speaker, and trainer, so she has a lot of experience in digital transformation, which is what her topic is on. And I think that in this case, in this story, Ulia really tries to highlight the importance of adaptability, of self awareness with the evolving business analyst profession. So, welcome, Ulia.
Thank you so much, Marcus. Thanks for having me.
Oh, you're very welcome. So, looking back, what would you say that surprised you most about how business architecture and business analysis actually work together in practice?
What I saw in real life, Marcus, was, and what surprised me was that there is often a lack of collaboration between these two groups, especially in large organizations, because business architecture function is more typical to be found in a large organization, or at least like medium large. Often they are separated and almost segregated from project world. So there would be some kind of an enterprise function, enterprise architecture function, business architects may be attached to that. And the link with projects is very, very minimal sometimes. And that, of course, is not ideal because then what's the point? Because projects are supposed to deliver change where architects plan change or help strategize what plan change is required. And if that collaboration isn't there or groups are literally confused, well, how am I supposed to work together? Is business architect even doing anything that is helpful to me as a business analyst? So there is that disconnect, I would say.
Okay, awesome. And what would you say that one mistake that you see teams repeatedly making when they skip this architecture early on?
Yeah, if we talk about digital transformation, again, the projects, as analysis is evolving, projects are evolving, right? 20, 30 years ago, often projects involve just one system. We're building a system, we are modifying something in the system. Today, often every single project, almost every project touches multiple systems, multiple integrations. Often third parties get impacted. So the complexity of projects grow because companies themselves are so much more digitally dependent on the technology. So if you skip architecture or if you disregard how the change you're working on fits into that big picture, you end up with often failed projects or delayed projects or a more architecture debt because architecture debt is created where you've developed a suboptimal solution where something isn't perfect or there is a manual step that you could have avoided if you planned better or maybe there was no time. So often what is the result of it, that you are working on a project over here, project over here, project over there, and all together they don't necessarily properly fit in that large application architecture, or they end up with duplicating capabilities, or there would be a gap in capabilities because they're not connected and because the kind of the boundaries of the project are defined by project themselves without necessarily understanding how does it fit in overall. So I would say that anything that helps to plan the project better, to understand the scope better, often it might mean adding to your scope like an extra integration because you're developing something. If you don't integrate to another department, another system, there may be a breakage, there may be loss of data, there may be discrepancy in reporting and various uh, problems that end up in more manual processes or in people getting frustrated or in customers. Now you call one part of telecommunication company and then they transfer you to another group and then they don't know anything about you. You have to start all over again. So these types of disconnects, so I would say that if anything, that's the major issue, that we jump right into individual projects and don't look at the big picture first.
It's all about the big picture. If you had to give BAs one mindset shift to work better with architects, what would that be?
So if you are a business analyst, there are two important things. One is you have to think strategically, even if you just work on a smaller project or you're part of a team, still the thing that you're working on, that change, that business problem is part of a bigger picture. And anything that your project does needs to align with the strategy. If you don't know what that strategic goal is, if you don't understand how your project fits in, please ask. And business architect would be a great person to ask if you have them, or enterprise architect, or your um, business sponsor. So understanding how what you are supposed to work on fits with the overall goal helps, because it might actually help you discover new requirements. It might help you prioritize your work better. It might help you to define which requirements are truly must have, because again they need to be there in order to fulfill that strategy. So that strategic mindset, you can't escape it, especially if you work in a large organization. And oftentimes the view of the strategy is very far removed from individual groups of people and projects, so sometimes you have to do that extra effort. And if you don't have a good relationship with architecture team, if you only see them once a year, the Christmas party, things like that, make a step forward. It doesn't have to come from above. Get to meet your architects. Invite your business architect for a coffee. Say, hey, I wish I would like to work more closely with you. How we can help each other? Because sometimes what you discover as a business analyst is actually valuable to business architect, because I worked as an business architect before. I know sometimes you don't have enough knowledge about what is happening in specific departments or specific processes. So you feel that your knowledge is a little bit too high level. So having good relationship with a business analyst helps you do your job better, and the other way around. So definitely bringing those two groups closer, because you should be working really on the same things, just the differences in scale, and not being afraid to reach out to architects and work together more closely. I think would work well for you. And then you can learn something else that may be helpful for your own career as well.
Superb. I want to thank you very much, Ulia, for having an article in this book, The Evolving Analyst. But um, we have to give credit where credit is well deserved. I just want to point out to the audience that Ulia's got two books of her own, and you can see them in the bottom left hand of my corner, I think. It's behind her on the right side, and I have two copies or one copy
Oh,
of each of her
thank
books
you.
as well. So I just want to mention that for those people who are interested to read more about business architecture, business analysis, or business analytics. Um, so thanks again, Julia, for being on the show. Much appreciated.
Thank you, Marcus. The best of success to the book. It's a
Thank
great
you.
enterprise.
Thank you. Much appreciated. Have yourself a great day.
Thank you.